Today we're going to be working on Leetcode question number 301. Remove invalid parentheses. Given a string S that contains parentheses and letters, remove the minimum number of invalid parentheses to make the input string valid. Return all the possible results. You may return the answer in any order. So over here, this is an invalid sequence of parentheses because we have an extra, like there are multiple ways of fixing it. The output is gonna be, if we, let's say if we remove the second character, we're gonna end up having this one, that's gonna become valid. Or if we remove fifth one, we're gonna end up having this one, so that's gonna be a valid one. If there is a character other than opening parentheses and closing parentheses, we're not gonna touch it, and it's gonna still stay the same. Okay, the algorithm is gonna be that, again, we're gonna have a queue where we're gonna be adding our initial string, taking it out, and every single time we're gonna be checking it if it is valid or not. Also, with every solution, we're gonna have a set of visited, whether or not we have already visited that string or not. And if it is not valid, we're gonna start, what we're gonna be doing is, like, we're gonna start removing one character at a time, and again put the rest in the queue, put the rest in the queue, and then keep looking for if the resultant string is valid or not. For So we're gonna initialize our result with a list of string result is equal to new array list. Okay, now we're gonna check for if just a sanity check, if the s is equal to null, we're gonna be returning this result. Okay, as I said, we're gonna have two things. We're gonna have a set of strings. Let's call it visited is equal to new hash set, and then we're gonna have a queue of string. Let's call it queue is equal to new linked list. Okay, we're gonna initialize our visited with the s. That, okay, we already visited that, and the queue is we're gonna also add our string s to queue. Now we're gonna have a flag that whether or not we already found it or not. So we're gonna say it is false in the beginning. This is because we don't wanna keep uh, we don't wanna keep, like, using the same string again and again. So if that flag is true, we're gonna stop going through manipulating the string. Okay, while the queue is not empty. Right, and then we have an s, which is the queue dot poll. This is the current string. Okay, first of all, we want to check that if is valid this s. If it is a valid parentheses, right, we're gonna say that, okay, result dot add the string, and then set the flag found to true. Okay, right. Now if we have already found it, right, then we're just gonna, if we have already found it, we're just gonna continue. We are not gonna start tweaking the string. Okay. Okay, now after that we are gonna iterate through the whole string in order to remove every single character and then check if it is a valid string, a valid parentheses sequence or not. Int I equals to 0, I is less than s dot length I plus plus. Okay, so we're gonna check that. First of all, we only wanna we are only interested in opening parentheses and closing parentheses. So if the character at that I uh, is not equal to either this or the s dot character at I is not equal to a closing parenthesis, again we just want to continue. We're not interested in the alphanumeric characters or anything other than the opening or closing parentheses. Now we're going to create our new string by actually removing the character at the ith place. So that would be s dot substring. Okay, starting from 0 to I plus s dot substring I plus 1. So we are actually missing one character at the ith index. So if we have not visited that thing, the string which we just created, if we have not visited it, then we're gonna add it again in the queue so we can process it. Okay, and also we're gonna say that okay, you have visited this t, so that we don't process it again. And that is it. Once we come out of this while loop, we can just return the result. Okay, the last thing we need to do is to implement this is valid function. For that, we're gonna be returning boolean is valid. It takes a string s. Okay, what it does is like we're gonna basically we're gonna have a count initialized to 0, which is gonna keep track of like if you have valid number of, like if you have seen the opening parentheses before the closing parentheses. So we want to make sure that it is always positive. For int I equals to 0, I is less than the s dot length I plus plus. Okay, uh, we're gonna get the character c, which is equal to excuse me character at I. So that is the c character. If that c is equal to opening parentheses, we're just gonna increment the count. Okay, but if that c is equal to this, we wanna do oops we can actually do it in one line. We can do is this, and we also want to check that it is we want to first of all decrement it, right? And the count negative negative equals to 0. So if the count has become equals to 0, that means it's gonna become negative, so we're gonna be returning false. But we are decrementing it after checking that if it is equals to 0. So basically, if it has been equal to 0, that means it's gonna go to negative, and that is not gonna be a valid valid string. So that is it. If we come out of this one, we can just return true. Actually, we still want to count, but so sorry. We can't just return true because there is a possibility that we need the count to be exactly equals to 0. So we're sure that we have a exactly same number of opening parentheses and closing parentheses. Let's check it out. Okay, we have a typo here. This is result. Okay. Okay, let's check it out one more time. So we are saying that what is the place where we are adding things? So if we are, while the queue is not empty, right? We are saying that we're gonna get the queue. We wanna check the validity of that, and if that is the case, we're gonna be adding it, and we're gonna say that found is true. If the found is true, we're gonna just continue. Okay, and then uh, okay, we're gonna be creating all of the different. We're gonna be iterating through the string. That is true if the character is not equal to this. This is like we need to be make sure that this is not equal to this and this. Then only then continue, not otherwise. Let's try. Yep, looking good. And it works.